Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We're continuing Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adilila, fourth chapter, the internal reason for the appearance of Krishna as Gauranga. Very beautiful chapter. I think this is a chapter that we can read again and again and again, because in this chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami as well as Prabhupada, they are revealing to us this very beautiful Gaura Tattva, which is Radha and Krishna Tattva. We can't understand Gaura Tattva without understanding Radha and Krishna Tattva, and vice versa. So in order to understand this Gaura Tattva, we have to go really deep in understanding Radha and Krishna Tattva, because Gauranga is the fusion of Radha and Krishna's heart. Radha Bhava duty suvalitam. That means he's imbibing Radha's Bhava. So then we have to understand what is Radha's Bhava, and that's this chapter is hinting at it and explaining also a little bit. So I offer my humble obeisances to all the Vaishnavas, chanter of the holy names. I think we should always consider the other Vaishnavas, they are chanters of the holy name. They are not ordinary people. We tend to, familiarity brings contempt. When we are devotee after a long time, we tend to see other devotees as normal people, but they are not. They're chanting the name of Radha and Krishna every day. Even if they don't do it perfectly, they're very glorious on this house. So it's a blessing for us to be in the company of the Vaishnavas. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Ladini Shakti Rasmat Ekatmanavapi Bhuvipur Dehabidam Gatota Chaitanyakyam Prakata Madhuno Tadvayam Chaikam Aptam Radha Bhavituti Suvilitam Name Krishna Swarupam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivedanta Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the unending mantra that reveals everything. We need to have very strong faith in the holy name. That's what will make our success or not. I find that often devotees don't have enough faith in the holy name. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine. May Prabhupada destroy our impersonal mentality. We are the Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. Once the devotee asked to Prabhupada, who are these impersonalists whom you speak about in your books? Because it was the beginning. They didn't see any impersonalists, in New York and San Francisco. Prabhupada told them, you are the impersonalist. So may Prabhupada destroy our nihilist and impersonalist mentality, and Prema Bhakti Jahauti Avidya Vinashayate, destroying our ignorance, imparting or placing in our heart the real understanding of the holy name of Radha and Krishna, so that the beautiful sun of the holy name can shine in the sky of our heart, or the beautiful moon rays of the holy name can enter into the dense, dark night of the forest of our heart. When we are in the very dark forest in the night, we don't see anything. This is our situation. But Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitananam, the holy name is like a moonbeam that penetrates through the foliage of all these anarthas, misconception that are keeping us in the dark, and finally end up touching the ground of the forest and making that dark forest beautiful. It's very beautiful, a moonbeam. Have you ever seen a moonbeam in your life? When I was young, I loved with my friends, as we were teenagers, we loved to go in the forest at night. That was one of our pastime. As teenager, we would wait. All the parents would be sleeping, and then we would sneak out around midnight and just spend the entire night in the forest. We'd go quite deep in the forest. We would make some fire or just stay in the dark. And I remember on some days we would see this moonbeam, It's very beautiful when you come to some place and you see a very beautiful moonbeam like this. Shreya Kairava. This is the moonbeam of good fortune, of the mercy of Radha Krishna's holy name. So we are arriving to text 429. Movishayi gopi ganena upapati bhave yogamaya karibeko opana prabhav. The influence of Yogamaya will inspire the gopis with the sentiment that I am their paramour, which means not their amour, but their paramour. We can say in English, their amour.
Yeah.
If paramour is there, the word amour must also be there, because para means belonging to another, which is not my husband. This is called parakriya. And Prabhupada says, Yogamaya is the name of the internal potency that makes the Lord forget himself and become an object of love for his pure devotees in different transcendental mellows. We could speak about that sentence for an entire, day of Brahma. We take shelter of Yogamaya. She Purnamasi, who appears in the beautiful form of Purnamasi Devi, as well as many other forms. She is omnipresent in Vraj. She is not only Purnamasi, but Purnamasi is the personification of Yogamaya. Yogamaya is the name of that internal potency. And we, as devotee, we need to develop very, very sincere love for Yogamaya, because she is the one that will introduce us in Vraj one day and give us our Swarup. This is Yogamaya. By her mercy, she can now transform the room where we are into the forest of Vraj at night. And we can find out ourselves in the beautiful night search, when the gopis, they're searching Krishna everywhere in the forest, or when they're dancing on the bank of the Yamuna in the full moon, under the full moon. For Yogamaya is just a snap of finger. She just have to snap off, not even. She can only think about it, and then we are there. So how the mercy of Yogamaya is very important in our life. Unfortunately, we don't pray Yogamaya very often, do we? But interestingly, Rupa Goswami had a deity of Yogamaya, because he knew that. Under the Govinda Ji temple in Vrindavan, if you go, you ask the pujari, they will bring you down these stairs. And you find yourself, it's not that deep, but it's probably one floor under the ground. So maybe, 10 feet under the ground, something like that. And there is a very small room, like a cave, but it's too small to be really called a cave. It's like a cell. And there is this deity of Durga Devi, Yogamaya. So Rupa would worship Yogamaya. Why? Because Rupa Goswami is the Rupa Manjari and she's feeling separation from Vraj. So she's worshipping Yogamaya, crying and saying, please bring me back to my eternal reality of Rupa Manjari. I want to be there with Radha and Krishna. He's crying, they're worshipping Yogamaya because he knows she can transfer us in the blink of an eye. And then we are there, fully there. Samadhi, by the mercy of Yogamaya, we transferred into the highest Samadhi. Yes. So Yogamaya has such a power. So we need to love her. Very important to love her. Purnamasi Devi. In Braj, she has a beautiful appearance of an elderly woman with white, silvery hair. It's very beautiful. But she is not an ugly elderly woman. Sometime in the material world, when men or women they grow old, they become not so beautiful. But you have to know Purnamasi, even though she is old, she's more beautiful than any model of this material world. Billions of times more beautiful. But still, she has the feathers.
Oh,
She
wrinkles.
No. She has the aspect.
Oh, features.
Features. She has the features of old age, but to the topmost, in the most beautiful way possible. Like Nanda and Yashoda. She explained also Nanda Maharaj, he has some grey hair in his mustache.
Yeah.
He doesn't look 20 years old. He's a little bit old. He has a little belly, Rupa Goswami says. But they are so beautiful at the same time. They are the perfection of beauty in all different ages. So Purnamasi Yogamaya, she's so sweet. Extremely sweet. We should not think she is an old lady. If we would see her, we would fall in love with her on the spot. Because she's so beautiful and her heart is spreading so much prem everywhere she goes. When Purnamasi arrives, the entire place becomes flooded with her prem. That's one aspect of the Brajabasi. They have a very, very wide aura. What we call aura in this material world is, people think this is some kind of energy surrounding you, subtle energy. That's the material subtle aura, it's not the real aura. Real aura means the love that someone has in his heart. And that love is shining through. Because someone who has prema, even someone who has love for Krishna, even bhava, whatever level of love one may have for Krishna, it's shining through. And then it's spreading and touching other people. So when they come, we could say, irradiate the place with their love. Each of them has a special radiation. Each of them has a special hue, which also spreads a special feeling. So when Yogamaya she comes, Purnamasi, she's shining like that also. And then everybody there is flooded in her special mood of love for Krishna and for Radha. It's so beautiful. That's why everybody becomes quiet. When she comes, nobody speaks again Purnamasi in Vraj. It's not because she has some position. It's because her love is so beautiful, and in front of Yogamaya, Purnamasi Devi, you just want to be quiet and listen to what she will tell you. And you know it will be perfect. She's the one person that never makes mistake. Radha and Krishna, they can make mistakes. In fact, she's perfect. I mean, not the one. Mother Yashoda also never make mistakes. Radha and Krishna, they, for the sake of Leela, they do make mistakes sometimes. Because it's part. These are not mistakes, these are beautiful mistakes. To enhance the beauty. So in one sense, to enhance the love. So it's not a mistake. It's another aspect of perfection. But Purnamasi has this special nature. And aside being that wonderful personality, she's living in Nandagram. There is a place, I think a little bit east-south of Nandagram, which is called Purnamasi Gufa. It's a cave. She's supposed to live there. I remember first time I went to Nandagram when I was young, in 2000. I really wanted to see that cave, but there's not much of a cave there. I was thinking, wow, the cave of Purnamasi, I want to see that. There's not so much of a cave there. There is a kund, but I don't remember that there was really a cave. So she lived there, but at the same time, she's also omnipresent. And by this omnipresent aspect, she makes the Lord forget himself. Krishna becomes Mugdata. And Prema becomes supreme. That's Yoga Maya making all this. By the power of Yoga Maya, she makes Krishna forget himself. Krishna doesn't know anymore. That is Krishna. It's not anymore, actually. For eternity, Krishna never knows that he is Krishna. He never has known it. He never knows it, and will never know it. In some other aspect, he has some knowledge about who he is. But Krishna cannot know who he is. That's the power of Yoga Maya. He forgets himself. So in one sense, when we say forget, he forgets himself, it's not really he forgets. It's that
he just doesn't know.
He just doesn't know. By the power of Yoga Maya. And he become, and he is, an object of love for his pure devotee. And he become, we could say, also an object in the hands of the love of his pure devotees. Krishna is like, he's like a straw carried upon the waves of the ocean of love of all his devotees. If you read Krishna's pastime and if you understand Krishna's heart, you see how Krishna is just carried away and he is not controlling anything. That's the beauty of Raja Prem. This Yoga Maya potency creates a spiritual sentiment in the minds of the damsels of Raj. Prabhupada calls them damsels of Raj, which is Vraja Kumari. Damsel is Kumari. She's not. Normally we call damsel who is not yet married, no? Damsel means who is not yet married. Vraja Kumari, by which they think of the Lord as their paramour. That means they think Krishna is not their husband, but is their beloved paramour, or we could say upapati in Sanskrit. Which is not considered to be a beautiful thing, but in Vraj it's a beautiful thing because our world is a perverted reflection. So whatever is highest in the spiritual world, in the reflection, ends up being the lowest thing. Like the top of a tree is the lowest thing in the reflection of that tree in the nearby lake. So they have this feeling. This is also Yoga Maya, because actually they are Krishna's energy. So they never belong to anyone else than Krishna. So their love for Krishna is completely pure and bona fide in one sense. It's the highest form of beauty and love. Nothing illicit. But in order to create some dynamic of separation, Yoga Maya makes this atmosphere in Vraj where Krishna and the gopi, they can't be with each other. It's so hard for them to come together and then to stay together. It's so hard. It seems easy because they do it by the same mercy of Yoga Maya, they manage to do it. But we sometimes have the conception that then it's not so complicated for them. Actually, it's extremely hard for them, and they never know if they will be able to meet again another time, because it has been so hard to meet. And they can be caught at any moment. They can be checked of any further meeting. They can be banned. Vedic society create this, or Yoga Maya create this aspect that really, if you do this, you're no one anymore. No one anymore. Like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, infamy is worse than death. So this is infamy. So they think they think they have a husband, and Krishna is not their husband, but they love him, and they don't love their husband. I mean, the husband of the gopis, they are also Nityasiddhas, so they are very special spiritual beings. And Bhaktivedanta Thakur explained actually that in Jaiva Dharma that in Goloka they don't have husbands. They have the feeling that they have husbands, which is called the abhiman. They think I have a husband. By the power of Yoga Maya, they think I have a husband, but they don't have. They think. But because everything in spiritual world is cheat or real, even they think I have a husband, then this husband exists in some way in their conception, in their chitta, their consciousness. This husband exists. And when Krishna appears on earth, there's this conception that the gopis have, which also that exists, who is reality. That conception becomes a person, and it becomes Abhimanyu for Radhani, or other names for other gopis. And the sister of Radhani, Ananga Manjari, she's married to the brother of Abhimanyu. So they live in the same palace. Rishabhanu Maharaj constructed a beautiful palace extension in Javat for Radhani to live there. It's high, and there is a terrace on top, where sometimes, Shiva Maharaj explained, she mirror signs Krishna in Nandagram. That was a beautiful reality I read the other day. I never heard about this before. With mirror, they can send messages like this. Because mirror sign can go very far, certainly from Nandagram to Jagat. If you have ever been, or Nandagram to Varshana, if you have ever been on the top of Nandishwar Hill in nowadays Raj, you can see Javat, the hill of Javat, and you can see the hill of Varshana. These three hills, they are the three main, this is the triangle of Raj. Nowadays, everything in Vrindavan happens in Vrindavan more or less, and these places that are much less populated. But actually, in Krishna's pastime, these are the three cities. Vrindavan is just dense forest. Nobody goes there. The three places are Javat, Varshana, and Nandagram. It's a triangle of three cities with triangle of roads connecting the three, which is practical. Every city is connected to the two other by two roads, because the triangle, every point is connected directly with the two others. And these are three hills, very wonderfully shaped. If we see how Raj is very wonderfully shaped. And then from the top of Nandishwar hill, which is the hill on top of which Nanda Maharaj's palace called Nanda Bhavan is situated, you see very nicely the hill of Varshana. You can see the palace of Rishabhanu, or nowadays the temple of Sriji Mandir. And you can see also similarly the hill of Javat, which nowadays is smaller than the hill of Nandagram and Varshana, but we don't know at that time. They may be thinking also like Gilead out of separation. But that's one of the most beautiful vision I have, or would say view, I ever had in nowadays Vraj, when you're on top of Nanda Bhavan. You can go on top of the, temple, these big walls, you can climb the stairs and then you're there. How you call this wall going around a castle? Protection wall.
Yeah.
You don't have some special name?
Not that I can think of.
In French we call rampart.
Oh, rampart.
You have also
Yeah,
rampart. Same. I was thinking so.
This shape.
Yeah, it's not that shape in underground because it's not Middle Age. It's a Golden Age, even beyond Golden Age. So they don't do same kind of architecture. Very beautiful architecture. And you can see it's so beautiful to see this hill of Varshana and seeing this is from this place Krishna would see the hill of Varshana. She could see the hill of Nandagram. So they're also mirror signing, sending messages through mirror. Very beautiful. And by the power of Yoga Maya, even though nowadays it's too far to really see someone there, you can't. You will not be able to see a person all far away in Varshana from Nandagram. But during Radha and Krishna's pastime, they could see Krishna there. They had some very powerful eyesight. No? Who has best eyesight? Who can have better eyesight than Radha and her girlfriend? They have better eyesight than an eagle. Eagle they can see. They have such an eyesight. We can't see very far as human, but they have a very beautiful eyesight. Coming back to our purport of Prabhupada, so they think Krishna is their beloved. Then Prabhupada explained, this sentiment is never to be compared to mundane illicit sexual love. It has nothing to do with sexual psychology. Although the pure love of such devotees seems to be sexual, one should know for certain that nothing can exist in this cosmic manifestation that has no real counterpart in the spiritual field. Prabhupada explained, it has nothing to do with sexual psychology. That means we have to understand the love between Radha, Krishna, and the gopis. They look like sexual psychology, but it's not. The concept of what we call in our world sexual desire doesn't exist there. sexual enjoyment, it doesn't exist in the spiritual world. Sexual psychology means sexual attraction, or all the psychology that goes around sexuality is absolutely entirely inexistent in Vraj, and it's replaced by love. It's the psychology of love. Even though it may look the same, it's exactly the opposite. How something can look the same and be the opposite? When you look at yourself in the mirror, you see an image that resembles you so perfectly. Actually, that's the best image you ever saw about you, reflection in the mirror. But that image is actually the exact opposite of your face, because left is right and right is left. It's interesting, yeah? So every one of us, we have a conception of our face like we look it in the mirror. But it's very different from our face, which is in the real, how to say, in the real
Position.
position. It's the opposite. So it looks exactly, it's the exact reflection, but it's the opposite at the same time. This is a way we can understand how something can be seemingly identical, but actually completely opposite. This is a material example. It doesn't fit perfectly, but this is to make our mind understand that this is possible even on the material level. So on the spiritual level, Prabhupada think that this sentiment is never to be compared to mundane, illicit sexual love. So first thing, before we speak about Radha and Krishna, we have to understand this point. There is nothing about the way we conceive life and what we see in this world. Only pure love. Pure love means that they're never ever taking anything for themselves. Love only knows to give. Love has nothing to take. The dynamic of love is that it will never exploit. It is devoid of exploiting tendency. It can never exploit. Love can only do one thing, it's giving completely. Giving oneself completely, this is love. Last is taking. So they cannot enjoy. Although Prabhupada writes often the word enjoy, they cannot enjoy because the enjoying spirit doesn't exist. They don't enjoy. They experience unlimited love and bliss, but they don't even enjoy that love. They're swimming in it, but they don't enjoy it for themselves. This is very important. That means all the joy, all the unlimited bliss that they experience, they're not exploiting it for their pleasure. They're giving it back. All the bliss that they're feeling, they would prefer Krishna to experience that bliss. If they experience of unlimited love, the only thing they think is that they want to give back that unlimited, beautiful experience to Krishna. They want Krishna to experience that. And Krishna sings the same thing. When Prabhupada says Krishna is the enjoyer, this is a certain way of speaking, telling to us. As beginner, we have to understand Krishna is the enjoyer. It's in order to get rid of our enjoying spirit, which is the spirit why we come into this world. So in order to get rid of our enjoying spirit and understand this subtlety of love, which love is to be enjoyed, or we could say even more precisely, to desire to give happiness to someone else, to give everything without expecting anything in return and without accepting also anything in return. Everything is given back. That's why it goes like ping pong eternally. They give back everything to Krishna, And when Krishna is given back everything, then he gives back everything to them. Krishna gives himself completely to them. He gives them his love and everything here. But they don't accept that for them. They experience it because they have to experience what Krishna is giving them. They feel it. But they give it back at the very same instant. They give it back to Krishna, plus themselves also. And when Krishna received it by the dynamic of love, he again at the very same moment gives it back. So never take, no, nobody, not anyone takes anything in the dynamic of love. They're only giving. Whereas the dynamic of sexual psychology of the material world is that everybody is trying to take. This is the opposite world. That's how the perfect reflection is theory is built upon, the enjoying spirit or non-existence of enjoying spirit. I often say, the gopis, if you would try to explain to them what is the concept of personal interest, they would not be able to grasp that. Like if I tell you personal interest, you understand. Every one of us will understand what means personal interest. It's not so difficult to understand personal interest. It's a concept that we don't need to explain too much. The words they speak by themselves. We have nearly spontaneous understanding of this word in our heart. Oh, in personal interest, that you don't need to explain. I understand it. But the gopi, if you try to explain to them what is the meaning, what is the meaning of personal interest, what is the concept of personality, they can't conceive that. Their intelligence is not able to conceive such a concept or to conceive such a thing or to grasp such a concept. They will never ever be able to know Krishna because they live in prema, and prema has that dynamic. So when we say Krishna is the enjoyer, it's not that Krishna is enjoying like anything and everybody is serving him. No, Krishna doesn't have this mentality. Otherwise he would be the same thing like anybody in this world. No, but Krishna is not like that. Krishna is pure love. How does Bhaktivedanta Thakur Prema Niketana? He says in this beautiful song Vibhavari Shesha, Prema Niketana, Fula Sarajo Jaka Karma. Prema Niketana, he is the abode of Prema, and Prema means to give everything. So this is an internal dialectic of love. So it has absolutely nothing to do with the exchange of this world. And even though they may embrace, even though they may love each other like girls and boy, they love in this world. It's not that. It's something else. It's pure, transcendental, beautiful romance where none of them is taking anything, but all of them is willing to give everything to the other at every moment. And that's very beautiful, extremely beautiful. And in all details, we have to always remember this aspect. Then we can consider reading Radha and Krishna Lila, and we will not misconceive it. If we don't understand that point, we will misconceive it. Radhani explained this to Krishna in Prema Samputa. She says, don't think that Krishna is acting for his own benefit. Krishna never acts for his own benefit. Even when he left us during the Rasa dance, when he left all the gopis, he didn't do that for his own profit. He did that because he wanted them to be benefited. He sacrificed his own immediate, interest for their sake. So he left because he knew that by leaving, they would grow in love. Their love would increase to such a degree. He wanted, and not only he wanted, but he was obliged. That's his nature as Krishna. He's obliged to do what will always increase love. And what will always increase love is, is love.
Separation. I was gonna say.
What always increases love is love. It means you give yourself. If you give yourself to someone who loves you, that will unbalance that person. Because the dynamic of that person is to give herself to you fully. If you give yourself fully to that person who wants to give herself fully to you, then it's very unbalancing. And the only thing she can do is to give herself back to you even more. And that will oblige you to just give yourself back again, even more. So the only thing that love can do is escalate. It can never be static because it has this nature. So it's not at all sexual. Prabhupada is making this. Krishna is their paramour because Parakya is such a beautiful reality. Parakya creates that they always think we can't be with him. We can't have Krishna. They are always checked. It's very extremely difficult to leave their house to reach the forest. There are so many obstacles. And they know at any moment they could be discovered. And if they would be discovered, that would be finished forever. You know, like as a child, when we would do some, how we call this? Forbidden things. You know that you can do that forbidden thing only as long as you're not discovered. Once you're discovered, never ever you will be able to do that because society will make sure that you will not be able to do it again. Like stealing the cakes, or as long as you're not discovered, you can do it. But once you discover, your mom will change, or she will put a lock or something like that. Then after it will become impossible. She will invent something. Or like we were doing when we were young, sneaking out in the middle of night. If we would have been discovered, we would have been just forbidden to go to each other's house anymore. And the game would be ended. So many things like that. They know it's so difficult, and it rests on a very fragile thing. The only hope that this can happen is that they won't be discovered. Otherwise, they know it won't be able to happen anymore. The parakya means it creates separation, omnipresent separation in whatever happens. Radhani, she goes to Nandagram every morning to cook for Krishna. She can't even look at him. Because I would say the Vedic way of life is very fanatic in one sense. How come it can be so fanatic? Because it's for Krishna's Leela. It has to be that fanatic to create that level of impossibility. Then it makes things so beautiful. She goes to Nandagram. She has to come out. She has to serve the prasadam to Krishna. She can't even look at him in the eyes. Can you imagine? And her love for him is like nothing compares. It has the power to swipe away all the universes in the blink of an eye. But she can't look at him in the eyes. She has to look down. Same for him. Otherwise, if it would be noticed that she looks at him, it would be very bad. About also the fanatism of the fanatism of Vedic rules. They exist a lot within their mind. This is a conception also, but they live like that. It's like someone has a trauma. We have some people in this world, they have a trauma, like they are paranoia. They have paranoia. They're thinking everybody's watching at me. But nobody's watching at them, you know. So they have some kind of paranoia, which is created by Yoga Maya, but this is transcendently beautiful feeling of aspect of prema. And they think they have to hide that prema as much as they can. And rather than explain to Krishna in Prema Samput, actually prema has to be kept hidden. Because when prema is expressed or seen or shown, then it decreases. But if it's kept hidden, then it grows. So that parakya also helps the prema to grow. The fact that she has to serve Krishna, how to say, to hand serve him with her own hand, you know. She has to put the sweets that she made for him. All her love is there in that sweet, you know. Her entire heart, her entire bhav, Madanyakya Mahabhav is there in that sweet. She has to place that in upon the plate of Krishna, not looking at him one moment. She does so because parakya means also you can't do it, but still you can't avoid doing it. But it brings you to very thin border, which is a very, how to say, subtle thing. So she looks in her necklace. She has a pearl necklace, then she can see the reflection of Krishna. She can see actually many, many Krishnas. And so that's the beauty of parakya. It creates such a tension. And in this situation, love can really reach its pinnacle. I would say
Zenith.
Venus. Another word?
Climax.
Another word? I have another word in my mind, but Krishna doesn't allow me to remember it. But you understand. So that's why parakya exists.
Peak.
It was not peak. That's why parakya exists. That's the beauty of parakya. Upapati bhave. The conception of Krishna is my paramour. Parakya also exists in other rasa. For Mother Yashoda parakya, because parakya means who is belonging to someone else. For Mother Yashoda, Krishna is the son of someone else. But that makes also her love for Krishna more intense, because she knows ultimately he is the son of Devaki. Even though he is not, and we know he's born from Yashoda, but she thinks so. So that makes her love for Krishna more intense. And all the inhabitants of Raj, they have this feeling.
Parakya bhavayaha brajate prachar.
Yes. Parikya bhavi joha brajate prachar. That's the nature of Braj. So Prabhupada explained here, it's very important to understand. Krishna never takes anything for him, never enjoys. There is no tendency to enjoy. So even in the romance exchange between Radha and Krishna, it's not at all enjoyment. In the material world, men and women, they enjoy with each other. Radha and Krishna, they don't enjoy with each other. They sacrifice they die every second for each other. Radha she dies for Krishna every second. Krishna dies for her every second. They don't enjoy, you understand? They give just everything. And it's much more beautiful than any kind of enjoyment. By the way, but this is the second aspect. It's despite of themselves. That's the nature of prem. The nature of prem, or the beauty of eternal reality as Krishna made it, is that the absolute sacrifice of yourself is the greatest bliss that exists. And as Prahlad Maharaj would say, as soon as someone tries to act for his own happiness, at that moment he will start to become unhappy. Which means the opposite also, that the secret for happiness is actually to never seek your own happiness, but just to give. That's prema, love, without expecting anything in return. So we have to always understand, put this very deeply rooted in our heart. And so then with that foundation we can see, analyze all the pastimes of Krishna and try to understand what are the actual feelings that are happening in all this story. And then with spiritual progress, when we can perceive actually some glimpses of that beautiful love, then naturally we will understand it properly, in the proper way. But in the beginning we have to think about it and to make the reversal, of the conception that what we read is not what it's meant. We have to make that conversion. We need a converter. Whatever we read about Radha and Krishna, we need to pass it through a converter. This is what Radharani explained herself to Krishna, disguised as the heavenly girl. Prema Samputa is the treasure chest of Prema. She is the most qualified person to explain this subject. And that's what she says to Krishna. Prabhupada then explained that all material manifestations are emanations of the transcendence. So the erotic principle of amorous love reflected in mixed material values are perverted reflections of the reality of spirit. That means they can never be the same thing. But one cannot understand the reality unless one is sufficiently educated in the spiritual science. So we can't understand. We will always compare it to some misunderstanding of the material world, as long as we don't have enough education in spiritual science, which is what we were just sharing. Without that deep understanding of what is spiritual love, then we will misunderstand what happens between Krishna and the gopis. Because it's something happening that is so beautiful that Krishna is himself, how did he say? Amazed by Chamatkar. Can we say it wonders Krishna? It amazes Krishna. It's not, the word wonder is not reversible.
No.
So we have to understand the purity of that love. It's very, very important, because then if we get this very subtle thing, then Rajalila will become such a beauty when we hear it. Billions of times more beautiful than any kind of material poetry, which is based on the opposite dynamic.
Yeah.
But this is the dynamic of pure love. So Prabhupada helps us here to understand what is the real nature of Radha and Krishna's love, or the gopis' love for Krishna. Amihana jani tahana jani gopi gana dunhara rupa guni dunhara nitya hare mana. Neither the gopis nor I shall notice this, for our minds will always be entranced by one another's beauty and qualities. So they don't have knowledge about what is going on. They're just captivated, entranced. Amina Jani, I don't know. Not Jana Gopi Gana. All these gopis, they don't know also. So who knows? Nobody knows. Maybe Yoga Maya knows. Dunhara Rupa Gune, Dunhara Nitya Hare Mana. Both of us, our mind will be captivated, entranced by by one another beauty and qualities, Rupa Guna. And Prabhupada explains more about Parakiya Ras here. This is a long purport. I will let it for the next time. It's very important to understand the purity of this love of prema and the dynamic of prema. I often say this is the foundation of rasa. If someone wants to understand Parakiya Ras, then he has to read Prema Samputa and how Radhani destroys all the misconception about her love, or the love that exists between her and Krishna. And then she goes further to say that actually they are also one and the same soul. So we can't understand what it means for two persons who are one and the same soul to embrace each other. It's not like two people embracing each other out of material attraction, or as Prabhupada would say, sexual attraction. It's completely different. Because Radha and Krishna, they have a problem. Their problem is that they are two bodies. They shouldn't be two bodies. They should be merged together, because that's their dynamic. They want to be merged together. That's the nature of love. Love is a merging energy. It attracts everything in it. It wants to merge into love. Love needs to merge into love. But there are two bodies. That's the problem. And this creates the dynamic of parakiya, or impossibility. And because there is this dynamic of impossibility, that creates unlimited growth or increase at every second. Because it's not possible, then it enhances or deepens the desire to merge into the love of the other. But it's not possible. In one sense, Radha and Krishna, they will never be able to merge together. Because not only they have, the problem of Radha and Krishna is that they have two forms. The second problem of Radha and Krishna said they have two forms eternally. So they will never be able, in one sense, to completely merge together. One aspect of the, even though they can do it, there will be always one aspect of them who won't be able to do it. Deha Bedam Gatoto. Bhuvi Pura. Bhuvi Pura means forever. Eternally they have these two forms. And these two forms plus the situation that Yogamaya creates that whole beautiful of Raja, Bhav and Raja's pastimes. They can't meet each other. But still, they're always going in the direction of this impossible. They're always trying to meet each other, even though this is impossible. And they manage to do it, but then again, it has to stop because the power of Parakya is so powerful in Braj that even when they meet, time comes and oblige them to be separated again. It's so well thought by Yogamaya that they will always have to become separated again. It's not possible. Or it's possible in one sense because, as the Brahma Samhita says, not even a second passes in the spiritual world, in Goloka. So that means every second of Goloka also continues to exist forever. That means when Radha and Krishna they are together, that moment together will always continue to exist also, even when they are separated. This is the dynamic of Radha and Krishna's pastime. It's never destroyed. So you do one thing one time, that thing will be real and present for eternity also. That means the only way to balance with that is that you exist in an unlimited form to experience this unlimited thing all at the same time. And because there is also a dynamic of time going on, there will be more and more lila accumulating on top of each other. But Radha and Krishna are unlimited, so they can accommodate that. And prema grows, love always grows. And we're supposed to find ourselves in the middle of that. Shri Radha Govinda Preme Sada Jena Basi. May I always live in the ocean of pure love of Radha and Krishna. What can we do? This is the beautiful reality. We're supposed to be part of that most sublime reality in their love, because that's also one of the highest aspects of love is that in that experience they want everybody to join that experience. So we have also our share in one sense, because it's not a share that we will take for us, but we have our gift that we will be able to give back also, and be caught in the same impossible dynamic for eternity. And it means also, even when reversely, when Radha and Krishna they meet, at the same time they are also not together, because that moment that they were separated still exists, and it's still going on also, and they are still living it also, because it's eternal. So this is the dilemma of Radha and Krishna's love. That's why Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, or would say rather, that's one of the reasons why he says that prema is a combination of meeting and separation at the same time. They can't be dissociated. We'll never be able to be only in pure meeting or in pure separation. Both will be. intertwined forever. Like the holy names of Radha and Krishna are intertwined for eternity. And we should intertwine ourselves in that beautiful intertwined reality. Okay, thank you very much. May Radha and Krishna intertwine us in their eternally growing love and make us realize more and more the beauty of their love. What we have just said now is just not even one drop of that reality. Because the nature of Radha and Krishna Katha, Vraja Katha, is that if we would continue to speak about it, then we would discover new dimensions of that love. You know, the people, they like to speak a lot nowadays of new dimensions. But in spiritual understanding of Raj, Raj has multiple dimensions, unlimited dimensions. Because the beauty and the love, they grow in an exponential way. What can we know about it? I don't know. Probably not much, but that not much is already more than what we could think about. So we need that mercy. We pray to Yoga Maya. We pray to the spiritual master, spiritual masters, starting with our gurus, Srila Prabhupada, our beautiful Acharya, and all the associates of Mahaprabhu, that they can enable us to enter into that reality. We should desire very much to enter into that reality, because this is actually our world. We should not think that this world of wood and stones and water and air and fire is our world. It's not our world. Our world is Divya Vrindaranya, Kalpadrumado, Srimad Ratnangana, Shimasanasto. This is our world. This divine forest of Vrindaranya, of Vrinde, where there are desire trees made of jewels and pure love. Trees also are radiating. Such every tree you approach in Vraj, you will be engulfed in his love also. And there are flower beds or asanas, jeweled asanas, where Radha and Krishna, they stand, they sit, or they lie. And this is our world, not this world. Prabhupada told that this is not our body. We have to understand it. This is not our body. That means I have another body. We should be very much how to say, desirous to discover who we are. Otherwise it doesn't make sense. We meet people in the street and we tell them, what is the use of this material world? You go working and all this, you do this all your life, but you don't know even who you are. We tell them this. It doesn't make sense. You die and you don't know anything. You don't know you are a spiritual soul. You don't know about God. You don't know who you are. But do we know who we are? Then the second illusion is that you join the movement, you become a devotee, and you practice Krishna consciousness, you chant, you read, still you don't know who you are, because you don't really understand properly who you are, a member of that world. And then when you understand that you are a member of that world, that second cover of illusion removed, then you now finally understand I am a part of that world, and this world is not mine. So we should look at this material world down from there, because that's where we are. We're there. We're not here. We're not here looking up an empty space there where we are not. We are there because that's even, how to say, in potency we are there. We are heir of that land. Our soul exists to live in that land. And one day we will be in that land. And we should make this day the ultimate hope of our life. Kobe habe bolu sedinama. When will that day come? When will that day come when Krishna will come and take me by the hand? When will that day come where I will realize who I am eternally and I will find myself in Raj? As Bhaktivedanta Swami sings, when will that day come when in a flash of light I will give up this material body and find myself taking birth in a beautiful village of Raj, in one house of a Gopa. That's what is called Siddhi Lalasa. Lalasa means desire for perfection. This is teaching of Bhaktivedanta and of Prabhupada also. We should desire perfection, not intermediary position. We should desire perfection. And as long as we don't have perfection, we should not sit. We should not sleep. We should die for obtaining perfection. Because that's the meaning of life. Life exists to be sacrificed for the life exists for dying for perfection. Because we have life, then we can die for obtaining perfection. Otherwise, there is no other use of what we call life. The only use of what we call life is to die for obtaining our perfection. We should be willing to die. This is called intense desire, or raga, or lolium, tatrapi lolium, api molium ekam. Tata lolium api
Apimulyam ekalam.
Tatra lolium api molium ekam. What is this lolium? Lolium is the desire to die for attaining that eternal reality of who we are in Radharani and Krishna's service. Intense desire means desire to die. Bhaktivedanta Swami says to Krishna, I can maybe wait for 1 day or 2 if you don't come, Krishna, but after that, I will die. Siddhi Lalasa. We need to develop that because this world is so beautiful and this is our world. How can we be satisfied with something we have nothing to do and where there is no real beauty? It seems only, but there is no love in this material world. We're supposed to be also ourselves a radiant being of love. That's what we are made of. We're made of pure love. Let this pure love we are made of shine and blossom completely, to become, to let us become who we are really. We should not search for something else. So this is the beauty of Raj. Thank you very much for enabling us to think about this beautiful reality.
Ada